Dom, you may have to do it again. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Actually, you're live. I'm on Facebook now and I can see you on there.
Oh, okay. Well, hey everyone. I did not know that it was working. Okay, cool. All right, so we are live. Well, stupid Facebook was like, no, it says preparing live stream. You know what? We're gonna go with it. Mhm. All right. So we will wait for some folks to come on here. All right. So I do see some folks on. So we can start. Sorry for the late start, everyone. We didn't start at exactly 6 because of Facebook and their wonderful technology issues. So we are now starting. So welcome everyone to our monthly live. So today is a special one for us. It is our 10-year anniversary, and going to have the pleasure of having one of our founding chapter members and our senior manager, Soleil Meade, on today. But I'm just going to share for some of the new folks an overview of TAG, or Take Action Advocacy Group. We call that TAG for short. We are an organization focused on Black liberation in small communities across the world, really. Presently, we do work here in Allegheny County, as well as in DeKalb County in Atlanta, Georgia, where we're doing pedestrian rights awareness work down in that area. So the way we take action is we have a complaint program. We're short term presently, and we assist people connecting them with lawyers, mental health resources. We like to say the police have the system, and then these people have us. So we kind of walk them through the steps of advocacy. Most times it doesn't make social media. It's a simple phone call. We'll just assist. If it does become public, then it becomes an advocacy campaign. And you'll see those on our blogs throughout our social media as well as our website. We also have chapters. Our chapter for this county is called Take Action Mon Valley for Allegheny County. They have a community action plan and they're working on several different things. We have a youth chapter as well, and they have an action plan as well. And then we do training and consulting work as well. And then we also have several different social justice initiatives we support. One of our biggest ones would be police accountability. And we do have what we call POC. So we really do our abolition work there. That's a little bit about TAG. And now I'm going to bring on Soleil Meade, who is one of our founding chapter members. And we are going to talk a little bit about some of the history of TAG. So I will let Soleil introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm so happy to be with you all. As Fawn said, I am one of the founding members of TAG, formerly known as Take Action One Valley. We have been through such an amazing evolution, and the organization itself has been just so rich and helpful in my life. Just to for my voice to shine and my purpose to be kind of steadfast, tag has played a huge part in that. So I'm really happy to be here to celebrate 10 years and hopefully many more, and to get into what we're going to be looking at today with fun.
And thank you so much, Soleil, for coming on. Soleil has been with us literally from the very beginning in 2014. And here we are 10 years later. So, wow.
Yeah,
That,
like fun. It's so it's just so many levels. I've been thinking about it all day, like just prepping for this. It's just so many levels of it for the work that we do for the community, but like literally how much it has contributed to my life and my growth. Like, 10 years ago, I was like kind of out of college trying to figure out things, trying to find myself and my voice and seeing and hearing things happening. Being from McKeesport and loving McKeesport because that's home, but also some of the things that would happen. I would always want to do more. I was like heavily steeped in the church and still am, but there was just something in me that was like, we gotta do more. Like, how can we help this? And then Tag came and the town hall happened. It was like a community town hall meeting, and I went and I was in amazement of Fawn and her leadership. And it was from that meeting that TAAG was birthed. And it was, I hope I ain't getting too into it, Fawn, but I mean, I've been thinking about it all day, just how much of a blessing like it's really been to me. And even like I didn't share too much about what I do outside of TAG, because I love just being a part of TAG alone, but my actual business is a branding and marketing business. And TAG is one of the very first organizations to trust me. Like, Take Action can say that they've seen my evolution from a budding starting designer that was still trying to learn her way around um, what branding meant to her, and learning that skill set up until now where I run a successful business. So there's just so much fruit and goodness that comes from me personally being connected to Take Action. And to be honest, what I shared is still just the tip off of the iceberg of how grateful I am to have this organization in my life for 10, 10 years, and hopefully many more.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Sorry for the
So
sidebar.
we have a slideshow. You can go to the next slide. So this is just some of the highlights. Okay, cool. Oh, I see it down there, fancy. Some of the highlights of TAG. So our 10-year anniversary. And I just wanted to put this up here because this is all on everything I'm about to say is on our website. Soleil and her team did an amazing job. So if you go to our homepage at the bottom, there's a timeline of some of the things we've done. And then if you go scroll down more, it literally has a breakdown from year to year. So I just wanted to highlight that so you can go and look yourself. You can go to the next slide. Okay. So this is the beginning. I broke this down into years, and so I figured we could use this to kind of talk through it.
Hmm.
So we started in 2014. We started talking about this about the end of April in 2014, beginning of May in 2014. So my cousin, May Harriet Hudson, she came to me because her son, who is my cousin as well, Carlos Hudson and Jan Randolph, were killed here in McKeesport in 2014. And she had went to a meeting in Pittsburgh, and they were talking about we need justice too, about how the homicides were not being solved of Black and brown people. At that time, the mayor had got on TV and said he was going to find out the murderers of the unfortunate murders of the Wolf sisters they were two white women who were murdered in Pittsburgh. And he said, we're going to put our full force behind this. And they did, and they caught the gentleman, good for that family. And we definitely send our condolences to the Wolf family. But that sparked something in Autumn Perkins because she said, well, wait a minute, what about us?
Yes.
So that's where we need justice too came from. Shout out to Autumn Perkins for having that dream and that vision. And then she went to, well, not the dream because it's not a dream, the vision to be able to advocate. So May went to that meeting. So she said, hey, let's do something in McKeesport. I was on council at the time. So we held a meeting at the Elks with the police, their community, just to figure out how we can address some of the violence. That's the very first meeting of TAG. So that's where Soleil came to that meeting. There was a lot of people there that came from everywhere, like Keysburg, White Oak, Duquesne, Clerton, and they were just like, hey, what are we going to do next? So we started to hold follow-up meetings. From those follow-up meetings came Take Action Mon Valley. So that is how we came about, how we exist. So there's just some pictures over here. I said Soleil's gonna kill me because it's a Soleil over here.
So, like, that's crazy. That's 10 years ago.
Yes, that's 10 years ago. So these are just some of the first things we did a lot of canvassing in the beginning, which we still do, but in the beginning to get us established, we did a lot of canvassing in McKeesport and Duquesne. So that was on the summer of 2014. Our first protest was in front of Mark Gergley's office, State Rep Mark Gergley. We had went to him and a couple other mayors throughout the city. when we first started, we started doing policy reports and policy papers. So we presented solutions to him. And some of the other mayors around having a task force, which they actually did, still didn't do it finally. And there were some other things around having monthly meetings with the community. We gave everyone 60 days to get back to us. He did not, totally ignored us. So then that's when we protested in front of his office. So, does this bring up anything for you, Sola?
It absolutely does, especially looking at the pictures, because when you look at the fact that we are here commemorating 10 years this year, when you look at the pictures that are there, we still do these same things to this day. Like all we have done is grown from the foundation of what we do. Like I would have never thought that when I was talking to these young ladies at this meeting, even though I was in charge of like having conversation with the youth at our first event, because that's when that was, like we have a youth chapter. We have youth chapters that has cycled young ladies from whenever they were in maybe middle school to high school, and now they're in college now. Um, and then even the canvassing, like all you have to do is visit Fawn's Facebook page and you will see her still out with a folder with some type of flyers in her hand in the community, and the protesting. Like when we need to pull up, we are going to pull up, and it's like really cool to see that the same foundations that we started on are still some of the building blocks to where we are today, and then have just kind of like entered us into even some of the transitions that we've had and the growth that we've had. So that's the one thing that came to my mind when I saw this. I'm like, I love it because our foundation has stood solid.
Yes, it has. Are we still live? I just want to make sure we're still live.
I see the Facebook.
I just want to, okay, cool.
I see it in the corner.
Because this thing's acting crazy. It's funny that you point out the youth because they have so grown so much. And
Yes.
you definitely, you're still in charge of the youth. But at that time, we could have never imagined that it would be, where it is now. So you can go to the next one. And this is continuation of 2014, 2017. Now, this is not everything that we did. There's not even enough PowerPoint slides to put all that on. But we started our chapters in McKeesford and Duquesne. We did youth panels. We did open mic nights. We did movie nights. This is a picture of us taking the kids to see Black Panther. We did a lot of voting work, a lot. We registered over 100 people in the Mon Valley. I don't even know the numbers at this point, but it's definitely probably like over 500 people we registered. And we started to spread this message of Black liberation and social justice throughout the Mon Valley. We started to demand that police take our cases serious. Like there was conversations that had never started to happen in the Mon Valley before. So a lot of that came from the work that TAAG did in the community, that our chapter members did. And we were out there really beating the drum. And we're proud of that. We're proud that we were able to start this conversation in regards to Black liberation and social justice, in the Mon Valley. I'm not saying other people haven't, because of course they have. But as far as a consistent voice with doing that, that has been TAAG, really.
Absolutely. Again, like I love it. Just seeing the movie night picture, it flashes me back to how over the years we've been um, proactive in knowing what it is that we wanted to do with the vision and the mission of the organization, but in doing the work that we do, you have to be reactive because we have to respond to things that are happening. And I was always just so grateful for the way that we would respond to certain things. Like I think the Black Panther outing was one of those, like it wasn't associated with anything, but like some of our movie nights actually stemmed from like us being reactive to an issue. And that is one of the things that I absolutely adore about TAAG, is the way that we show up to respond to things that happen in the community. So I'm gonna try to tell the story short, but like the movie theater was connected to like a urban air sky zone type of things, and the kids loved it. I mean, there's not a ton of things for kids in the Mon Valley area to do, so it would be filled with kids on a Friday night, and they was a little bit out of control, and it was getting a little messy. So instead of us, just pulling our kids out, blaming our kids, like Fawn really like advocated for us, and we went together and talked to the people of the movie theater. Let's create good things. Let us host and rent out a movie theater and bring our youth, so you can see that all of them don't act like this. And even with the trauma sessions, like in recent years, you've seen the scheduled ones that you could register for. But again, one of the things that I absolutely love is it's an organization that's both proactive and reactive. So if something happened within our community, we were looking for a community center, a church, or something to pull up and to be there for the community, because we knew trauma had happened right then and there. So again, like this is like true to the roots of Take Action, of what we do. Like it is not just the organization that does things when things happen, but there's strategy and even a plan around how we show up when things do happen to us.
Hmm. It's crazy that you say that there was when you pointed out that, oh, now you can register, because
Yeah.
we were doing so much.
Yep. So much, but
So,
like it was old school too. Like I remember
yes,
the one time we had the one meeting and we talked about like potentially forming neighborhood watch. I love that we can have these
yes,
conversations
yeah,
because we were like, some of this stuff need to go back to what we used to do, like what our grandmas and mamas used to do. Like no, because y'all
yeah.
can't keep wrecking havoc on our neighborhood, and people knew to call us. It wasn't long before Take Action Mon Valley was established that especially people within the McKeesport community, they knew to call TAAG when something was wrong. They knew we were going to show up.
Hmm. Hmm. And I remember it was, and people have to understand, like we're grassroots organizers.
Mhm.
So we were we were doing trauma sessions. We were emailing and texting pastors and therapists, whoever was available. Well, not whoever, but we of course work with Black folks who were there was alignment. We was reaching out, having people come over here. So when TAG first started, it started just from people kind of getting together. We had the first meeting in McKeesport, and then people started coming from all over. And then it was literally just a group of people who gave a damn and got together and said, you know what, we're going to do something. It was around community violence. That's how we first kind of gathered as folk just coming from everywhere. We didn't take money from anyone. Remember, anytime we did anything, we paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all paid, we all gave some money. Of course, as the, co-founder, a lot of it came from myself, but it was a lot of folks. Now we didn't take money from anyone. And that was on purpose then.
Yeah.
We didn't want to feel beholden to anyone. Now we had politicians. Remember, we had politicians reaching out. Hey, you want to say? We were like, nope, nope. We had the media reaching out. We didn't have the media at every event. I turned folks away sometimes. I think something might have happened with the thing now. I would turn people away from time to time. That would happen. So um, there was always something going on, but it was so grassroots that we literally had everyone doing their part. I would say everything was kind of different based
Boots
on
on the
what
ground
everyone
for
was doing,
sure.
but it definitely wasn't like we were pointing out. There wasn't anywhere you sign up. It wasn't all fancy like that. It was just people giving a damn and getting together.
Yep.
And then Soleil she did our logo.
Mm-hmm.
So Take Action One Valley logo, that was Soleil. She did that logo. She hasn't left us since. And now even look at SBE, which is Soleil Branding Essentials, has grown to the point where Soleil has designed our new logo, our website. Soleil and her team, they've done all of that. And who would have thought, as we were sitting in our living rooms, basically having these conversations, that 10 years later, we would be an entire nonprofit. Because I didn't even want a nonprofit. Remember Soleil? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I ain't trying to do that.
Yep.
I don't want that mess. I didn't want to really be in a nonprofit
I
industrial complex. I didn't want to get in that whole piece. So it took a while, to kind of get here, but it was so grassroots in the beginning. We were just doing stuff. Things were responding, we were kind of happening. So I'm happy you pointed out the whole, there's no register because there wasn't nowhere to register. We just
Mm-mm.
was out here
We
in the
could
street.
pull up. We like it just it was a phone call. I think we had an email address set up, but like people knew where to find us. Like, I mean, the reason why we're Take Action Advocacy Group is because of the expansion of us. But I mean, imagine a community that you live in and there being some type of organization like TAG that you knew you could call when something went on. Like that was us. They knew how to find us. However they needed to find us, they knew how to find us, and we would, we would come to. I mean, I don't want to say to rescue because it's not like that's even our mindset that we're here to quote unquote like rescue people, but we wouldn't let our people walk alone, and that's in everything. You know what I mean? Like if you're going through how it started, which was like an unsolved murder, like a grieving community, but even down to voting, like we're in your face about the things that you don't want us in your face about too. We gonna be knocking on the door saying, "Why? Do y'all need a ride to vote? Like, how can we help you?" So I love that about Tag, like, cause we haven't lost that either. I remember, I wasn't like really, really into politics. Absolutely voted as soon as I had the chance to vote, but Tag opened me up to so much more with that, and remembering going out and canvassing with Ron. Like, we're not just going to be on social media because social media is a thing. We got to go knock on people's doors and talk to them. And I mean, I recall being out and talking to someone who, had just got released from being incarcerated. And it was so exhilarating to be able to pull up the voter registration and walk away and get that young man registered to vote. You know what I mean? Because we were able to know the system, to know what was needed. Like when we say boots on the ground, like it literally it's just always been that. It's
Hmm.
always been that.
I remember I was babysitting. Like I would knock on doors and I'd be like, "Well, come on, can you watch my baby? I go vote." I'd be like, "Yeah."
Yep. Yep.
So I'm up here.
Serve
I'm
my
up
food
here.
while I run. Yep. Well, won't you
Yep.
go watch the food? What you
Yeah.
need? What do
Up
you
here.
need?
Up
Yeah.
here babysitting, watching the kids. So,
Yeah.
and toward that end of 2017, beginning of 2018, our focus kind of shifted. So when we first started, we were focused on community violence. That's what we were around. Just from doing the work a number of years, we doing it because we all do stuff outside of tag too. We just seen that the violence was connected to racism, meaning that racism and white supremacy were creating the conditions that we were living in. So what we didn't want to do was continue to do the work the way we were doing some of the things, because none of this things is it's not our fault. Our communities look like this. So we wanted to kind of shift away from that to more of focus on social justice and Black liberation. So that's where you see the shift come in with us from when we started in 2014. If you look at us, the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, you'll see that, and you'll see us start to push more social justice and Black liberation things because of, and we did a lot of research to do those policy reports, and everything kept coming back to racism, white supremacy, and access. So we know what that is rooted in. So that's where you see the shift come. And so they talked about the big Phoenix that happened at the movie theater with them messing with the kids, and of course always calling the police. And then one of her comrades, Black Rap, got arrested just literally for defending the kids. So we were involved with that. And at the end of that was where we did that community day at the theater where we had a free movie and kids were able to come out. We also did the Black Student Union lawsuit, which made all kind of national news. So our kids, our youth chapter wanted a Black Student Union at McKeesport. They said no, so we sued them with the ACLU, and that was a big thing that you wouldn't think because it's not even radical, you all. It's literally just a Black Student Union. So we won that lawsuit. We got the Big Phoenix to do diversity policy, and they did that community day. We started to kick in a lot with police accountability. We did a lot of work with Antoine Rose II, and others. We did some with the Police Review Board. We were able to work with a lot of great local orgs to get that passed. So we did a lot of work. But if you look at it from 2018, like into 2017, you'll see the shift. And then in 2019, we got a fiscal sponsor. Shout out to One Hood. It was Jasiri who really challenged me. Jasiri X is the co-founder of One Hood. And he said, look, what are you going to do with Take Action on Valley? And I said, what we've been doing. What do you mean? And so he said, well, you could get funded. And I said, really? Am I a little radical tail? He said, I think you can. So he was correct. And we actually did get some funders to fund us. And in 2020, we became a 501c3 and, a nonprofit, the board and all that good fancy stuff. And then in 2021 is where we did our rebrand. And we started to call ourselves TAAG, Take Action, Advocacy Group, TAAG for short. Take Action Mon Valley, we still own that name, and that is still the name of our chapter for Allegheny County. So I hope that helps to kind of explain some of our shifts. So we can go on to the next one. But the shift came from like a lot of that, the research we were doing. And then this is us from 2020 to 2024. So this is us now, basically. We did another lawsuit. So, as I was thinking about all the dope shit we've done, I'm like, not a lot of people can say they literally have sued. Um, we sued the school district and won, and we sued the city of McKeesport because when we went to advocate in 2020, Kobe Francis shot Jerry Athens, the police officer. Officer survived, but they were looking for Kobe, and that resulted in terrorizing us for about a week. Basically, the Black people that live in this community. So the ACLU once again came in and filed a lawsuit. We tried to go to a council meeting. They locked us out, which is against the Sunshine Law, which is a law of Pennsylvania that says that council people, like local government, has to do things in front of the public. So we sued and won and got access to public meetings, just not for us, but for everybody, really. Um, and then we started to do some work with Moving for Black Lives and Black Voters Matter. Um, also want to highlight that from the beginning of TAG in 2014 to presently, we've had 5 of our chapter members run for office, and we've had 5 win. So I was on city council when we started, and then I ran for state rep. I also ran for mayor of McKeesport. I did not win, but I did win the primary. Soleil ran for school board. She was our school board here in McKeesport for a while. Amber Webb is our chapter member, and she is presently on city council. Nicole Nesby is our chapter member as well, and she became the first Black mayor of Duquesne. And Fawn McDaniel as well, won for city council in Duquesne. So, and I want to highlight our founding chapter members. We have Amber Webb, Nicole Nesby, Fawn McDaniel, Keenan Mickle, Curtis Harper, George Montgomery, Grace Walker, Stephanie Murray. So we have a lot of our chapter members. Stephanie ran for council at one point too. So we did a lot of shit. We did a lot. We did a lot of work, and as I was putting this together, I was like, wow, just thinking about where the Most High has brought us, and it's like 2014. I had like tag was not a job. It was literally a passion. So it was like the third line of things that I was doing. So I would go to work and I would come home and I would do tag stuff. I would do tag stuff. I would do tag stuff. And it wasn't just me, it was all of us because we all had jobs. It was just something that we cared about, and we wanted to do. And when we kind of shifted to do the funding piece, a big piece of my mind was being able to hire our folks
Mhm.
and pay our folks to actually do this work. So that was a big push for actually why we went the C3 route, was so that we can hire our people, have our people involved, and this organizing and make it so that this is something that they're doing all the time. So yeah, so it's pretty dope. A lot of the things that we've been able to do.
I
Yeah.
think there's so much that I can say. I'll start with this though. Like sometimes whenever we see some of our community grassroots organization like take action, we see the events that they do, and I personally think that sometimes we can't really grasp the level of work and the level of sacrifice that goes into um, these organizations doing what they do. I think that is something that absolutely needs to be commended from so many levels, like just from the lens of take action. And when we're looking at this slide and talking about the Sunshine Law violation, I will never forget that day. And right now, I couldn't tell you exactly what it was that Fawn and I were doing, but all I know is she was like, "It's an emergency. I need to talk to you immediately." And I was on a like business retreat, and um I was like, I need some tap. Y'all gotta give me a minute, cause like something's happening in my community. And again, like I cannot recall. I know I had my laptop out. I think we were sending emails, following up, calling people that were calling and saying that they were being terrorized to make sure they were okay. Um, you don't think about the nonprofit founder and the calls that they get in the middle of the night whenever someone's family member has endured any type of trauma, or whenever some type of injustice is taking place. And I just salute Take Action and all of the many solid nonprofit grassroots black led organizations in our city, in our county. Like the work that is done is tireless, especially from our founders, like the ones that keep things running. Like it's nonstop. And the other thing that I would want to highlight is, you know, when you have a community grassroots organization, a community is finna call on you, especially, when there's a problem. Like, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters, like it's tag, But I always have had a great appreciation for the things that we do outside of that reactive work. So once again, when Fawn talks about the elected officials, a lot of us might have just like been satisfied with the fact that at least I'm voting, and it just stops right there. But an organization like Take Action says you could hold an elected seat. And I'm like, I remember when they came to me about the school board, I was just like, oh, that's so nice y'all thought about me. I don't know. I don't think it's for me. And they talked to me, and I will never forget like the sense of um to be honest, like almost like ancestral resilience that they were speaking into my spirit. Like, it's all over you. Like, you can do this, and like you're the perfect person for it. Why? Like, we can't run from being uncomfortable whenever it could change lives. And I like now y'all got me squirming in my seat, and I have to really consider it. But the hope and the mindset shift that organizations like Take Action can do to those who are open to it, it literally is revolutionary, which is why you see us expanding in some of the work that we do today. Whereas when it started as we're responding to violence, how we want to stop in our community, but there's also these beautiful and amazing people that have survived trauma, that have been resilient, but have greatness inside of them. So let me tell them how they can be great. Let me tell them and empower them through the trainings that we host, how they can impact their communities. just a couple weeks ago, I think Fawn and I both got messages from one of our youth chapter members, and she has been one that was a part early, and now she's graduated. And we gotta thank you for giving me my voice message. And I just cried for a minute because, like, to know that the work, the reactive work that we do is dope.
Yeah.
But the foundation and the impact that we make is literally, it makes life more fulfilling. It makes it all worth it. To hear a young lady say that I found my voice, and to know the type of voices that we tell them to have, we have lit a candle that's about to go into the world around her, and disrupt some systems, help people set some mindsets free. It's just so beautiful to celebrate. I can't wait till we have our official party, and just because it it is. I have been overwhelmed today in just preparation for this, and just thinking about the impact it has had on my life personally, but also the influence and impact it has allowed me to have.
Hmm. Mm. Yeah, that's yeah, in regards to how we've impacted people. And I always tell people, yeah, like tell us, because we don't know,
Yes.
if you don't tell us. Now I know that, we have impacted folks, but it's always good to hear. This is a very thankless field
Hmm.
that we work with because it's so much trauma in it, and people are only reacting, to the trauma. So it's always good to hear about the impact. And I never would have imagined,
Yeah.
it's I feel like this is my duty. So I'm just doing, and my head is typically down in the work.
Hmm.
So I'm doing and doing and doing. And I feel like I look up and now I'm CEO of a nonprofit. And you couldn't have told me this 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, I do that. No, no. And now it's just expanded to heights that I never, would have imagined. And I've had people come up and say, it was because of y'all I ran for office, or it's because of y'all I knew I could organize this meeting
Hmm.
in my community. So that is all very powerful. When people come up and they say those things, and anybody can do, what we did with TAG. It literally is people just coming together and giving a damn and saying, "Hey, I care about this in my community. Let's get together. Let's do something about it." And that from our first meeting in the Elks in McKeesport to now having a nonprofit with a operating budget of over $80,000, having a full-time CEO. And we are a nonprofit. I gotta say that to y'all sometimes because people be like, "What do
Can I
you
have
do
some
for a
money?
living?" I'll be like, "What do you mean? What do I do for a living? I run tech." Like, but I think they're thinking we're, a community group, but we're an actual nonprofit now. So I'm the full-time CEO. Soleil's part-time manager. We have an intern. She's part-time. We have a social media team who you can't see who's on this Zoom right now. We have Soleil and her team that does our graphics, like all of our branding. I'm like, wow, I couldn't have imagined,
Such a long way.
yeah, that we would even be, we have t-shirts, that Soleil's
Feature on the
design.
website.
You know? We got all this fancy stuff. So it's crazy to kind of look back years, 10 years, that's a whole decade
That's a whole decade.
of advocacy. And we have been beating that drum, oh my goodness, about the Mon Valley, for the love of goodness. We have
Hmm.
been beating it and beating it and beating it and beating it.
And it
and,
still beat it.
and still beating it,
And still will.
because small communities matter.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
our purpose, and you can see this on our site, our mission, our purpose is to always instill in other people that they're the answer. Not an elected official, not even a group. It's really us. Like, we're the answer, and the answer is always here,
And the powers within.
always inside of us, and it can be ignited with a collective voice, which is what TAG is collective voice of people. But our purpose is to always instill in everyone that they are the answer. Not us, not Fawn, not Soleil, but you literally are the answer. People getting together and organizing. Community organizing is our superpower,
Mm-hmm.
really. And we just kind of brought it to this level. So kind of close this out. Soleil, I have a question for you. Um, did you think that we would be where we are at with TAG? And then what do you see for the future?
That's a great question. So I I have to do this. I know you just told us the power is within us, and it's not. It's not either of us. But it is so hard for me not to give you your flowers whenever we talk about this work. So when I think about when we first started at your dining room table, like trying to figure this out, I don't think I saw that far. But what I can say is that with you and your leadership and that gift that's in you for this, I never had a doubt that we could go as far as you would have desired this to go. Um, One of the things that I would say to even compliment what you just said in closing is that yes, the power is within you, and we need one another to almost help charge our batteries and charge our voice. And if that advocacy and activism and action is in you, I personally cannot think of a better organization and a better CEO and founder to really help you keep that momentum going. It's not about us telling you what to do. That's one thing I love about our youth chapter. And they probably can't stand us sometimes for it. This is your event. How can we help you? What do you need me? You need me to take the trash out? No, I'm not speaking. You're speaking. We literally, it's our job to ignite what's within you. So, Fawn, yeah, because and then as you just continue to be dedicated to the cause and to hear people out in their needs, it like that community picture began to make even more sense, right? Because I realized that the fire that you had, it literally burned because of the needs and different things that we saw. So I'm like, yeah, we really are like moving this thing along. She really does need us to do this. So absolutely, I would have not, like, when you break it down to like fully funded, a nonprofit organization, staffed, contractors, like, no. Did I imagine that designing a logo where it was probably the first logo that I ever designed with purpose? And
Mm,
I said, we need something that's going to catch people's attention. And I thought about, I think we were talking and somebody mentioned, like, when we're at a stop sign and we see somebody pulled over, like they're like, the stop sign of take action is more than just like the stop sign to get your attention, but it rooted back to something that was meaningful, to then having brainstorming sessions with Fawn about a rebrand and what our t-shirts. No, I would have never imagined, but I am so grateful that this is where we are. um I feel like when you talk about what I see for the future, a part of me is anxious even more so to see some of the seeds that we planted starting to blossom and grow even more. Like some of the people that we've worked with, the youth that we worked with, like seeing how their voice is taking shape and form even more, because that is in part how the legacy of Take Action will live on, like beyond us, because someone that we touched is pressing on. That parent that called for help because something was happening in their kid's school is now, leading the, parent meeting monthly and really revolutionizing a racist school district. Like, yes, things like that. I want to hear more and more stories and just just continue the journey that we're on of serving our people, and a lot more celebration, a lot more of the Black liberation. And again, I feel like I'm leaning on the stories because that really wraps back to everything that we've been saying, the things that we've been trying to get you to understand, that you have the power. When those stories are told, it's confirmation that you realize that.
Mm-hmm. And I
Yeah.
love the fact that you brought up, like earlier, you're talking about ancestors.
Hmm.
And a lot of times that is what fuels me. So TAG has been around for 10 years, but myself, just the background thing is, so y'all gonna see my couch, sorry. But a lot of it, like I've been doing since I was 11, and there's no way, it's impossible for me to do it this long. Someone takes over. That is the ancestral connection that I have, that we all have with our ancestors. I just tap into it. So that it can fuel me, to kind of do the work, because it's not easy, and it's not anything that either of us want to do. I always say that because I feel like a lot of people get that confused. Like, no, we don't want to do this shit. Like, we have to do it. It's a
Right.
matter of survival. It is our duty. It is what we have to do, to fight for our people. So we're going to make sure that we do it, but we're also going to make sure we have Black joy and we have Black rest and that we're healthy, which is kind of like our vision for the future of TAG. And so they kind of highlighted it with the storytelling. So as far as what the future holds for TAG, we're doing a lot of healing. We want to get into the healing side of liberation. We spent 10 years teaching people how to advocate, how to organize, showing up a whole hell of a lot of times. But now we want to switch to more of the healing work and teaching people how to rest, how to
Hmm.
heal, advocacy plans, moving from advocacy plans to self-care plans, sound baths, healing, yoga, meditation. Like we want to do all of that. So we're going to have a big old event to celebrate our 10 years, and we're going to have a healing event. We're going to reach out to our chapter members that I've already been in contact with, a majority of them to speak there and to tell some of these stories. I do want to point out Jonathan. Jonathan is
Yes.
on city council in East Pittsburgh. Another one of our original chapter members as well. And Courtney is one of our chapter members presently. So I also want to thank some of the organizations that have donated to us. Pittsburgh Foundation is over the years, Heinz, Poise, Opportunity Fund, I Move for Black Lives, Black Voters Matter, Three Rivers Foundation. Those are some of the foundations that have funded us. I can't ever say the one. It's called the Belonder Fee Foundation, but it's on our social media page. I can't ever say it correctly. But thank you for real, like real talk. Thank you to not just the foundations, but we also have individual donors. And we're going to start to tell their stories as well. We started that this year, you've seen with Giving Tuesday. We put a lot of quotes out, but we have individual donors too. And thank you for that real talk, because like these nonprofits don't run themselves. You need funding to do it, and you need consistent funding to do it. So we're always writing grants. We're always thankful to people who take the time, even if it's $5, it all helps. So we've had people when we're out on the streets donate to say, hey, take this 50, take this 20. Thank you for real. Like all of that helps to continue to keep the work flowing. So that's what we plan on doing in the future. We're still going to be doing our advocacy, but we're also going to do a lot more healing work, which is still advocacy, you all, which is still liberation work. Rest is still revolutionary. Taking care of yourself is still revolutionary. If you are Black in this world and you show up, damn it, that's revolutionary. That's what we have to understand. Like our existence is revolutionary. Us just being around is revolutionary. So we have to own that, and take heed of that. So that's where a lot of the healing work will come in. So we're doing maybe a 1 or 2 day kind of healing event where we'll introduce some of these things to our folks, as well as tell our story. We're going to spend the next few years telling TAAG's story. You'll see that a lot because we did a lot and we want to highlight that. So you'll see a lot of that as well. I don't feel like there's anything in the chat, any questions or anything for us in the chat. I don't think so. I'm looking now and I don't see anything. So it's 6:54. Kind of go over the next few podcasts we're going to have. So we are going to start a partnership with Narrative Justice. That is Shannon Hughes' organization. So she's working with some people in our podcast. We'll be on their particular, we're going to have a channel on their site. That's Narrative Justice. So you'll see that in upcoming months. We're going to be doing some podcast shows around our healing work. Also, we release a lot of reports too. So within POP, which I talked about earlier, our policing coalition, we've done several reports there. We did one on alternatives to policing. And we also work with Pitt, students at Pitt, to do a website on how to file a complaint against the police and unions. So we're going to bring those folks on to the podcast to talk to them about that. We did some listening sessions with Penn State, and we are working on a report for that as well. So those will be some of the upcoming podcasts that you'll see is us talking about our healing work, talking about the cases we're working on now, as well as those reports that we have released. So yeah, this is good shit.
Yes.
It is. It's really good. I've been, like you said, been reflecting. I've been reflecting since the beginning of 2024
Mm-hmm.
because I know we had a conversation. Our 10-year
Sure did.
anniversary is coming up, and I'm still in like kind of
I'm in
shock.
shock. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because TAAG is like my blood, my sweat,
Mm-hmm.
my absolute tears,
Mm-hmm.
are in this work, and I don't see TAAG as a nonprofit. I see it as a way that I do my liberation work,
Right.
and that's how I treat it. So I don't see it as a nonprofit. We will give money back to you if we feel like you are not aligned with what we believe in.
Mm-hmm.
We will hold you accountable for that because we got to sleep at night, and this is how we do our work. So this is about community building, not getting grants, not getting funded, not none of that shit. This is how we give back. So it is very serious to us. So if that's why we may move a little serious sometimes, and we are so protective of our people in the Mon Valley in these small communities. We just ain't bringing nobody around here. We beat the drum, so now people are funding the valley. Good thing, but you have to include us in that. Not us. I don't mean TAAG. I mean the people who actually live in the Mon Valley. Ask us what we want. Hire us. You know, we got a lot of folks here in the Mon Valley, and I know I'm speaking for small communities across the world. We got talented people. They're just not resourced.
Mm-hmm.
They're not resourced. There's no access there. We got transportation issues here. So if you come over here and 5 people show up and you don't get your 50, don't leave us. Look at your engagement plan. Keep doing it because it's about quantity. It's about quality and not quantity.
Yep.
So if 2 people come up, you're not going to hear me say, "Oh, that wasn't a success because just 2 people came." Those 2 people might get some good information. Those 2 people are going to take it back. So you have to think that way if you're going to organize in these small communities. You don't know what's best. We know what is best for us. So if you're going to come over here, I would say have that in mind. The answer is to not just call TAAG or phone or Soleil and think you've done the work. No, get over here with our folks. Get in the dirt with us. Talk to us and kind of see what we want. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know people are coming over to the valley. It's getting funded, and which is great, but ask us what we want. If you're doing work that TAAG is doing, it would make sense to reach out to us and not jump over us or and we're looking like, damn, why didn't he just, call us? So but if you're coming over here to sell insurance, you gotta call TAAG. We don't do insurance,
I mean, but it
but
kind of would make sense because we are the people. So if you want people to come to your event, why wouldn't you tap into the organizations that have pull on the people? Got to. I mean, I fun don't want all the life insurance agents hitting us up, right? But like, just to wrap that back to the framework of TAG. So if you come to one of our community organizing trainings, that's the framework of it. The framework is teaching you how to function in communities with respect, with your power, like with dignity, and with like knowledge, not just like a bright idea and let me just go put it out there, but there is a framework that respects the people of that community. It gives your vision the respect that it needs. Like, yeah, so Fawn is literally just speaking to the framework that we function and take action. Again, like if you come to a community organizing meeting, if you send your youth out to one of our youth chapter meetings or one of our trainings, that's what we teach them. Like, if y'all are planning something for the youth, like, yes, you all here are youth, but how are you talking to your classmates and other youth to make sure that what you're planning is what they want? So again, like that is the framework of the work that we do, and that's why she is, expressing it in that way, not just because it's like a good message. It's literally the heartbeat of what we do, and
mm,
it's good for anyone who wants to come into a community, even if it's your own community.
mhm.
Like, even if you live there, just because we live in a community does not give us the right to just have our idea and just run with it, because maybe your idea isn't fully formed or fleshed out. Maybe there's somebody else doing what you're doing. So, communication and collaboration is like really important, and sometimes we miss that. But if we respect the framework that honestly should be enforced in every small community across this entire country, then we would yeah, we would circumvent a lot of the issues that happen within, to cause them to say, well, they can't even work together.
Yeah,
Because that's what they be saying
yeah,
about us. They can't even work together. We
yeah.
can.
We
We can make
definitely would, and we do a lot of what Soleil is talking about, like our framework. Like we do advocacy plans, we do power mapping,
it.
we
Hmm.
have frameworks we go off of. We do that at the beginning of the year, so that's why we started to do some of our trainings, because we're like, let's teach people how to do some of these things. So in closing, we do have some upcoming events. Our youth chapter is having a family game night next Tuesday, April 16th at the United Community Center. We'll put this in the chat. Please come out. It's for anyone. Our work is for Black people and other marginalized groups in small communities, but this event is for everyone. Because sometimes we do hold events that are just for Black people, but this is for everyone in the community. Our youth chapter really wanted to highlight Black joy and Black rest. So that's why they have yoga there and they'll have games. So folks, come out. It is next Tuesday at the United Community Center. You don't have to sign up. We're asking people to so we can know for the food purposes. So yeah, I think we said a lot today. So thanks to everyone for joining us. And as we start to celebrate our 10 years, so please come out at our upcoming event that we will be having. It'll be a couple months from now, but follow us on social media. You can follow us on our website as well, because we have a newsletter there. So for April, we do have the upcoming family game night for youth. We also have a lot of voting events coming up. We have a panel next week as well. That is on the 17th. So follow us and you'll check our events out. Thank you all for joining us.
Good night. Thanks for having me, Fawn.